Welcome to the Unleash Greatness podcast with your host, Jonathan Mitchell. The best in personal, emotional, spiritual, and business development.
Well, hey guys, it is I, Jonathan Mitchell. This is Unleash Greatness. Thank you so much. This is the second week of the second season in 2019. So glad to be here, you guys. Today is Monday, which is interview day. I have the lovely Tiffany Ann of Dreams Recycled on with me. Super excited to have her. So she focuses on recovering from divorces and failed marriages, and just her passion around coaching people to recover from those type of relationships. And it's very, very interesting to listen to her. I'm super excited to have you guys listen in. This episode, as per usual, is sponsored by naturalmedicinemamas.com. If you need help with natural or alternative medicine with herbs and education and products to help you be healthy and your family be, all ready to go for wintertime or anything else, go there and they got some good stuff for you. Thank you again for listening in. This is Unleash Greatness. Here we go. Buckle up. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to Unleash Greatness. Today I have the wonderful Tiffany Ann, which I just want to make sure I'm saying the right name, right?
Correct.
How about that? There you go, perfect. With Dreams Recycled, I'm so excited to have her. We've had to reschedule some things, but we have her on now, and I'm excited. And she has some beautiful paintings behind her, which I know you can't see because you're listening, but just know they're amazing paintings. I'm jealous. If I wish I could do. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm great today. How are you?
I am wonderful. The other reason why I'm excited is because your accent. I know everyone's going to love listening. Just saying.
I get extra points.
Points just for you. So I've already done a lovely bio and introduction for you, but I would love to hear from you, like a little bit more about yourself, where you've come from, and what you're doing now.
Okay, so my story is unique, but it's also universal. So it has elements of both. I am one of the 53% of Americans who, or English Americans, people who live in America or whatever, that find themselves divorced.
Yeah.
And that's really where my story started. So I found myself divorced after 16 years of marriage and 3 children. And I, like many, many people, were forced to recycle my life. And the way that I did it is kind of unique, because I actually started my own company called dreamsrecycled.com, which helps other divorcees through the process and helps them sell off their unwanted wedding items in the process.
Nice. That's awesome. And you've been doing that for how long, mind me asking?
My company's almost 4 years old now.
Great. And you work with people more one-on-one, more group stuff? Like, what's your focus usually?
Well, we have everything. We do it all. In our website, we have 120 expert bloggers who blog about everything divorce and after divorce, whether it's parenting, addiction, therapy, real estate, financial planning, legal, obviously.
Yeah.
We have a community where divorcees can connect with other divorcees, and we have the marketplace to sell off things, and we have a directory so you can find the best secondary divorce services in your area.
Nice.
So that's more of an online service thing. And then I'm also a certified life coach, and I specialize in working with divorcees to help them create the best life after divorce they can possibly have, which is, the Dreams Recycle philosophy.
Yeah.
We really believe when you focus on the positive, you really can truly recycle your life into something much better.
Awesome. I love it. So obviously with Unleash Greatness, we have 4 different subjects. Today we're talking about relationships, both, recovery from, whatever circumstances may lead to divorce. It's hard, right? So
yeah, it's not something anyone does on a whim. You don't wake up and go, oh, today's a good day to get divorced.
Right. Yeah, totally. So when, I know the questions I sent you beforehand, one of them is, how do you unleash greatness in this area? So when someone's going through recovery through divorce, and all the stuff that comes along with that, refining themselves, getting rid of the past, moving forward, what to you, when you see someone go through that in the healthiest way,
yeah,
what's the great way to do that in your experience working with people?
I mean, it sounds like such a cliche, and I have to admit, and it's in my book, I talk about it, I wasn't great at it. I can be a bit of a Debbie Downer if I let myself. And I think we all can, right? When we first get divorced, you really feel, whether it's rejection, whether it's sadness, sorrow, loss, grief, a whole mix of all of that going on at once, which isn't great. And you can kind of wallow in that a little bit too much. But honestly, by far the best way to get through your divorce is using positivity, because positivity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. And the more you focus on the positives of divorce and everything you have gained instead of lost, then definitely you get to a better place quicker.
Is that what you call the Dreams Recycle philosophy? Is that kind of like it in a nutshell?
Yes. We focus on letting go, obviously. You sell off your items, because daily positive action. We advise people, it doesn't matter what you do. It's like eating an elephant. It just seems insurmountable at first, but you do it one spoonful at a time. So if you take one daily positive action for your new life, you will eventually get there. It might take 6 months, might take a year, but it's okay, because we all will get there in the end to the happier, better place.
Right. So if I may ask, do you have a story of someone that you've worked with? Like, where did they come from, and then how did you help them recover and all the success that came with that?
Well, I obviously am not going to say any names or anything,
of course.
But we help a lot of divorcees, and I've spoken to over 6,000 divorcees, which I think might be a world record. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I feel, sometimes the biggest reward as a coach or as what I do at Dreams Recycled is the people who come to you and obviously seem like the hardest people to help, people who are reluctant to change, who really are kind of stuck in that rut. And I've worked with people who have even been divorced 10, 12 years and have not let go and not moved on. Right. And they spend their whole life kind of in this very dark place of resentment, spite, obsessively checking their ex's Facebook, Instagram's accounts, and God knows what else. And those people have been the most rewarding for me to work with, because I've helped them, maybe even a decade later, start a whole new life. So it's never too late to really let go and move on and build that better life. And I feel like that's probably, personally for me, my biggest successes with people like that.
Any specific stories you'd like to share about?
I just think it's hard. We work with a lot of people who have been in very abusive relationships, whether it's, verbal abuse, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse is a massive one. Yeah. And just really helping them through the process and helping them understand the patterns that they've been in often their entire lives, and helping them break them. And I don't have one specific story, because I literally hear from people I've helped every single day.
Good.
But every time somebody comes back to me, it's nice now because I've been doing it for 4 years. So I'm at the point where almost daily I get contacted with people who are like, oh my God, I've met like the love of my life. Like, it's such a healthy relationship. It's so great. Or they've started this amazing business or whatever it is. And they've really kind of taken everything aboard that Dreams Recycle promotes and I promote, and they've like run with it, and they're the Dreams Recycled rock stars that we have, and that's lovely to see every day.
If you were to say what to look for as far as an abusive relationship, how would you recognize it, and then what would you tell someone to do if they go, oh my gosh, I'm in an abusive relationship of whatever kind this is,
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's the biggest downfall of the education system worldwide is there's no class at school that teaches you this.
Yeah.
And I really think there needs to be, Dreams Recycled 101, that this is not what you want, this is not healthy. And unfortunately, I think the worst cases I see and deal with are the sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, who, of course, at the very beginning seem amazing. And so those people, it's hard at the beginning to spot the red flags. I almost want to say, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say that a lot of times I see a pattern of insidious abuse, as in, it's not like one day everything's great and the next day you're getting thrown against the wall. And that's what people say. People don't understand why people stay in these relationships, etc. It's much more insidious abuse. It's more like this very, very slow chipping of people's psyche and their self-esteem. And so it starts off great, and then the control angles come in, and it's like a quarter turn of a nut. And by the time you're in this relationship for 7 years, you realize that you can't wear what you want, you can't say what you want, you can't do what you want, you have no financial control, you're being constantly put down, told that things you do are wrong, things that, it could be anything. There was somebody recently being told they're doing the laundry on the wrong day of the week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But you look at it as a sign of abuse, right? So anyone who is with somebody who really has to over control any aspect of their life, whether it's what they wear, where they go, who they're friends with, who they talk to, financially, how much money, who knows what, etc. I mean, these are all massive, massive red flags. And I say, look for these things at the beginning. If somebody is telling you you're not good enough, even if it's not exactly in those words, that's a massive red flag.
Yeah. So you would say that it kind of comes down to the control thing, and then not only the control, but the punishment emotionally, financially, physically, whatever, that comes after not obeying the rules, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I write a lot about withholding. Yeah. Look for anybody who withholds, whether it's affection, love, kindness, words of affirmation, sex, money, it doesn't matter. I mean, that is all signs of control. Yeah. And that all, in my mind anyway, most of the time will lead to an abusive relationship.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit, because I love talking about both sides. The other side of it is healthiness. So do you teach your people about boundaries or healthy communication, or what do you like to focus on as far as healthy relationships?
Well, I always tell everyone when they come to us, because people kind of often will want like this fix, like they're obsessed with fixing their ex or making things better. See, we can't fix anyone else. So everybody needs to let go of that notion. You cannot help anyone else who doesn't want help. You cannot fix anyone else who doesn't want help. Yeah. The only person that you have control over is you, and how you react to everything and how you interact with people. And so, we highly advise that if you're in any kind of abusive relationship, you disengage. There's no winning with these people. There's no reasoning with these people. There's no, these people are not going to change unless they're in serious therapy or help. And so all you can do is focus on your own reactions and your own kind of life and building that, and almost building like a armor-plated life that no matter what your ex does on a good day, bad day, whatever, that it no longer affects you. And that's when you know that you've won, right? Because not only have you left, but you've also stopped your ex having any negative effect over your life in the future. And if you can do this, you're a ridiculously strong person, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know for me, I was in a relationship before where it was emotionally abusive. It wasn't me to her, it was her to me, which is funny because I think as far as a man's concerned, I know that when people talk about abusive relationships, usually it's man to woman, but it definitely happens both ways, right?
Yeah, and I hear that every day. Yeah. I actually think it may be close to 50-50. Different kinds of abuse, but the same kind of emotions attached to the other person being affected.
Yeah, I think the hard part for me, and maybe you see this as well, but I had to come to grips with, there's the positive, optimistic side of myself, which is like, I believe in this person, I believe they can get better, I believe it's someday going to be good, but right now it sucks. But someday it's going to be nice. You know what I mean? But it's that balance of saying, okay, can I be with him in the bad times, but are the bad times really actually abusive, or are they actually bad times? Does that make sense? Like, it's just trying to balance, being positive and believing and working through stuff, as opposed to saying this is not a good situation. How do you decipher that?
I mean, I think people when they come to me, one of the most common questions I get asked, and I never ever answer it. So if you're out there, do not ask me this question. Should I get divorced?
Yeah. That's
not for me to answer. But every single person who asks me that already knows the answer to that question themselves.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's something inherently you do know, but you're trying to work up the courage to do it. And it's not good for anyone, and it's not healthy, and nobody needs to stay in a situation like that. No man, no woman, no anything. And I think there's definitely an element of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like, we're embarrassed if we've been in a situation where we've been in an unhealthy relationship or we've been abused. It's embarrassing. You feel shameful, you feel guilt, you feel like maybe it was you, something about me made this person treat me like this. And I think, one of the biggest steps, what you said about the girl that you were dating, you have to say, be strong enough to say, it's okay. I'm going to forgive myself for getting in this relationship and not seeing these red flags, because we're intelligent, we're smart, we have, we're educated, we're whatever we think we are, yet we still can all get caught up in these negative relationships and abusive relationships.
Yeah.
And we have to forgive ourselves. And I think forgiveness is the first step to leaving.
How do you tap into your own greatness inside of relationships?
Well, now, I think one of the things that makes me a great coach is I've made some really horrible relationship decisions in my lifetime. Okay. Right?
It happens, yeah.
Yeah. That's where we come from. That's where my company was born from. That's where, the 400 dates in my book that I write about are born from. We're not all perfect. Nobody claims to be perfect. I certainly don't claim to be perfect. And so I think I actually use that a lot in my coaching. I tap into all those memories of all the things that I did that I can see right now of blaring red flags and blaringly bad choices.
Yeah.
And I can talk people through it, and I think that there's a massive benefit to that. I'm also an empath. I can read people really well, and I think that combined, the fact that I've been there, done that, I've got you pegged right now.
I'm sure you do.
and go from there. And I think that's a good thing. I'm not a big fan of some of the coaches out there, and they proclaim to be so perfect in so many ways. I'm definitely not one of those.
This is kind of a random question. And by the way, I would love to do a book review on your book, Dreams Recycled. So I say that in pretext to this next question. Besides your own book, what book have you read as far as relationships are concerned that made you or helped you, assisted you to change how you behave inside relationships?
Oh, I'm okay. Number one, just warn you, I'm really, really bad at names, so I might mess up his name. There's a book, I think it's called The Love Addict by Pia. Can't remember her last name.
I know which one you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, that one is a great book. And obviously, cliche as well, but the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very important. I think that probably isn't kind of said enough, that you can be 2 amazing people, but just together you're not right. And a lot of people we counsel, there isn't a good guy and a bad guy in the divorce. It's just 2 people who fundamentally love in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important, that you make sure that you align yourself and date people who show love to you in a way that makes sense to you. Because otherwise it's like you're both speaking to different languages, and there's a massive gap of communication in the middle, right?
If you were to coach someone right now listening, in whatever situation they may be in, to make a positive influence in their life, what one action step or one behavior change would you suggest to make some big changes?
I would say, obviously what I said before, positivity, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. But what I would say, and I don't think a lot of people out there talk about this properly, is the quicker we accept change, the better we are from it. And if you can kind of teach yourself to not only accept change, but actually use it as a springboard to greatness, funny enough.
There you go.
It's even better, right?
Yeah.
Because I think there's this analogy that I always use, and I think it's so good, that, if you struggle, you drown, but if you relax, you float, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how change is. The more you struggle against it and you fight against it and you lament it, the worse it is. The more you just let it take you where you're naturally supposed to be in the world, and and if you're really lucky like me, start a whole company from it or make it your life's work, we're just in a better place, and change will happen. It doesn't matter if it's divorce or not. It could be illness, job loss, injury, whatever it is. change is constant. And if we don't learn to deal with it in a positive way, we're not going to have a happy life.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Thank you for that. And I love basking in your wisdom. It's awesome. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me personally at Tiffany@dreamsrecycle.com.
Okay.
And obviously through our website, dreamsrecycle.com, if you need any divorce help or secondary services.
Thank you for taking the time. I've loved talking to you and hearing your story. I appreciate you sharing.
No, I'm so grateful for you having me, and I wish you massive luck with this podcast. You're a rock star too.
Well, thank you very much. It means a lot coming from the girl herself. It's awesome. So thank you. We'll be in touch, and everyone, please get in touch with her because she is amazing. And until next time, we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.